You don't change your life in one moment. You change it in the quiet decisions you make every single day. I know you're trying. I know some days you wake up inspired, and some days you wake up tired of fighting the same battles. You wonder if the effort is worth it, if anyone notices, if growth is even happening. Let me tell you something gently and truthfully. Every day you choose to improve, even by one breath, one thought, one action, you are already winning. Before anything in your life truly changes, something quieter has to happen first. You have to tell yourself the truth, not the version that sounds impressive, not the version that protects your ego. The honest one, the one you usually avoid because it makes you uncomfortable. Real growth never begins with perfection. It begins with awareness, with the courage to look at your life and say, this is where I am right now, without shame and without excuses. So many people think improvement starts when you finally get it together, when you stop making mistakes, when you stop feeling afraid. But that's not how it works. If perfection were the starting point, no one would ever grow. Growth begins the moment you stop pretending you're fine when you're not. The moment you admit you're tired, or lost, or unsure. Because honesty creates clarity, and clarity creates movement. There were times in my life when I smiled on the outside and felt completely unsteady on the inside. Times when I told the world I was confident while privately questioning if I belonged in the room at all. And the truth is, pretending didn't make me stronger. It made me heavier. Carrying a false version of yourself is exhausting. It drains your energy. It disconnects you from your intuition. You can't improve a life you refuse to look at clearly. Honesty is not self-criticism. That's important to understand. Being honest doesn't mean tearing yourself apart or replaying your failures. It means observing yourself with compassion. It means saying, I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm willing to see where I am. That willingness is powerful. That's the ground where growth takes root. When you stop judging yourself for not being there, yet you free up the energy you need to actually move forward. Shame freezes people. Honesty releases them. You don't need to punish yourself into progress. You need to understand yourself into it. Every habit you want to change, every dream you want to reach, begins with knowing your patterns, your fears, your strengths, your limits, and you can't know any of that if you're not truthful with yourself. There is something incredibly brave about admitting, I don't have it all figured out, especially in a world that rewards performance over authenticity. But here's the quiet truth. The people who grow the most are not the ones who pretend they're strong. They're the ones who are willing to be real. Because real people can be taught. Real people can be refined. Real people can evolve. Some days honesty will reveal that you're doing better than you think, and some days it will reveal that you've been avoiding what needs attention. Both are gifts. Both are necessary. Improvement doesn't require you to be harsh. It requires you to be awake. When you become honest with yourself, you also stop expecting growth to be instant. You understand that becoming better is a process, not a personality switch. You allow yourself to be a work in progress, and that permission changes everything. It turns failure into feedback. It turns delay into preparation. It turns discomfort into direction. You don't wake up one day magically disciplined, confident, and fearless. You wake up one day willing to look at your life clearly and say, I can grow from here. That's enough. That's always been enough. The strongest foundation you can build your life on is truth, not the loud kind, the quiet, personal, unfiltered kind. Because when you are honest about where you stand, you finally know where to step next. And that single step, taken with humility and courage, is how daily growth truly begins. There comes a moment in every journey where inspiration stops being enough. where the excitement fades, where the applause is gone, and all that remains is a quiet choice: will you show up anyway? This is where real growth separates itself from wishful thinking. This is where discipline steps in, not as punishment, but as love in action. Discipline is often misunderstood. People think it's harsh, rigid, cold, but true discipline is deeply personal and deeply kind. It is the decision to care about your future self enough to do what today's self would rather avoid. It's choosing structure over chaos, even when chaos feels easier. It's saying, I deserve consistency, not just comfort. Motivation is emotional. It rises and falls. Some mornings you wake up ready to conquer the world. Other mornings you wake up questioning why you even started. If you rely only on motivation, your growth will always be fragile. Discipline is different. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks who you're committed to becoming. Every small act of discipline is a message you send inward. When you keep your word to yourself, you build trust with yourself. And that trust becomes confidence. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind that doesn't need validation. The kind that says, I can rely on me. Think about it. Every time you delay what matters, you weaken that trust. Every time you follow through, even imperfectly, you strengthen it. Discipline is not about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing the right things repeatedly. It's waking up when you said you would. It's practicing when no one is clapping. It's choosing growth when no one is checking. There were seasons in my life where discipline was the only thing holding me steady. Not passion, not certainty, just routine, just commitment. Just the belief that if I showed up today, tomorrow would be lighter. And I learned something powerful. In those seasons, discipline creates freedom. The more disciplined you become, the less controlled you are by fear, distraction, and self-doubt. People think freedom means doing whatever you want. But real freedom is having the strength to do what you should. Freedom is being able to focus, to say no, to protect your energy, to build a life that doesn't collapse the moment things get hard. Discipline gives you that power. And discipline doesn't require grand gestures. It thrives in the small moments. 5 minutes of focus, one healthy choice, one honest conversation, one step forward. When you respect the small disciplines, they compound slowly, quietly. And one day you realize you're standing in a life that feels stable, intentional, and earned. There will be days when discipline feels lonely, when shortcuts tempt you, when quitting feels justified. But those are the days discipline matters most. Because discipline is not about proving anything to the world. It's about honoring the promise you made to yourself when no one was watching. You don't need to be extreme. You need to be consistent. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be present. Show up tired, show up unsure, show up human. Discipline doesn't demand excellence every day. It asks for effort. And here's the quiet miracle of discipline. The more you practice it, the less force it requires. What once felt heavy becomes natural. What once felt difficult becomes identity. You stop negotiating with your goals. You stop abandoning yourself. You begin to move with integrity. Discipline is not a cage, it's a backbone. It holds you upright when motivation bends. It reminds you who you are when doubt gets loud. And every day you choose discipline, you are not restricting your life. You are expanding it. Because the most powerful form of self-respect is doing what you said you would do long after the mood has power. There is a quiet moment that comes before every breakthrough. A moment where you don't feel ready. You don't feel strong. You don't feel certain. All you feel is a soft pull forward and a loud fear holding you back. This is the space where faith is born, not the kind that waits for guarantees, the kind that moves without them. Most people believe confidence comes first and action follows. But in real life, it's almost always the opposite. You act first, you move first, and confidence meets you along the way. Faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is deciding that fear doesn't get the final vote. It's trusting that clarity comes from movement, not from waiting. There were many times in my life when I didn't feel brave enough to take the next step. I didn't feel ready to speak up, ready to try again, ready to walk into unfamiliar spaces. But what I learned, slowly and humbly, is that readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. A decision to honor the calling inside you, even when your hands are shaking. Faith grows in action, not in thought, not in planning, not in wishing, in action. The moment you take one step forward without knowing how the entire journey will unfold, something shifts inside you. Your spirit rises to meet the moment. Your strength reveals itself, not all at once, just enough for the next step. Waiting to feel ready can keep you waiting forever, because growth always asks more of you than you feel prepared to give. Always. If you wait for confidence, you'll stay stuck. But if you move with willingness, confidence will find you. That's how faith works. It responds to courage, not comfort. Faith is deeply personal. It doesn't need to be loud or performative. Sometimes faith looks like getting out of bed when you feel discouraged. Sometimes it looks like applying for the opportunity you think you won't get. Sometimes it looks like starting over, quietly, without announcing it to the world. Faith is not dramatic, it is devoted. There is something sacred about doing what you can with what you have, right where you are. Faith doesn't ask you to leap 10 steps ahead. It asks you to take the next honest step. And when you do, life meets you there. Not with certainty, but with support. You don't need to see the whole staircase to climb it. You just need to trust that the step beneath your feet will hold you. Every time you act despite fear, you teach yourself that you are capable of surviving uncertainty. And that lesson is powerful. It builds resilience, it builds trust, it builds inner peace. Fear will always offer you reasons to wait, to delay, to doubt yourself. Fear is persuasive, it sounds logical, it sounds protective. But faith speaks differently. Faith is quieter. It says try, begin, move. Even if you move slowly, even if you move imperfectly. When you live this way, acting before you feel ready, you stop needing permission. You stop waiting for validation. You become internally anchored. And that changes how you walk into rooms, how you handle rejection, how you recover from failure. Because you know that your strength is not dependent on circumstances. It comes from within. Every day you choose faith over fear, you grow spiritually and emotionally. You become someone who trusts life, someone who trusts timing, someone who trusts their own resilience. And that trust compounds. Faith doesn't mean everything will work out the way you plan. It means you believe you will be okay no matter how it unfolds. And that belief gives you the courage to keep going. So don't wait to feel fearless. Move while you're afraid. Don't wait to feel ready. Begin while you're unsure. Because the moment you step forward in faith, life responds with strength you didn't know you had. There is a silent thief of growth that rarely announces itself. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It looks harmless at first. It's called comparison. And if you're not careful, it will slowly drain the joy out of your journey while convincing you that everyone else is somehow ahead. Comparison convinces you that your pace is wrong, your progress is late, and your path is flawed. It tells you that because someone else has achieved something sooner, you are somehow behind. But growth does not run on a shared clock. There is no universal timeline for becoming who you are meant to be. The moment you start measuring your life against someone else's milestones, you stop honoring your own. You forget what you've survived. You forget how far you've come. You forget the context of your story. And without context, nothing makes sense. You cannot compare your beginning to someone else's middle and call it truth. Every life unfolds differently because every purpose is different. Some people bloom early, some bloom slowly, some take long detours that later become their greatest strengths. Your delays are not denials, they are development. But comparison makes you blind to that. It convinces you that speed equals success, when in reality, alignment matters far more. When you compare, you trade gratitude for judgment. You stop seeing your own progress because you're too busy counting someone else's wins. And that robs you of peace. Peace is essential for growth. You cannot build a fulfilling life while constantly questioning your worth. There were moments when I looked around and wondered why others seemed to move faster, be chosen sooner, or be celebrated louder. And in those moments, I had to remind myself that my assignment was not to outrun anyone. It was to become myself fully. The moment I returned my focus inward, my strength returned with it. Comparison also disconnects you from authenticity. You begin to edit yourself to F. It trends. To chase validation instead of alignment. To mold your dreams into shapes that were never meant for you. And the cost of that is high. You may gain approval, but you lose yourself. And no success is worth that price. Your journey is designed to teach you specific lessons. Lessons you could only learn this way. Lessons that require your exact timing, your exact challenges, your exact experiences. When you rush the process or resent it, you miss its wisdom. When you honor it, you grow deeper, not just faster. The antidote to comparison is presence. Stay present with your work, your growth, your calling. Ask yourself better questions. Am I learning? Am I improving? Am I becoming more honest, more disciplined, more compassionate than I was yesterday? If the answer is yes, you are on track. Celebrate other people without making their success a verdict on your life. There is room for everyone. Someone else's rise does not diminish your potential. The world is not running out of opportunities. It is responding to authenticity. And authenticity only comes when you stop performing and start becoming. When you release a comparison, you reclaim your energy. You stop leaking confidence. You stop second-guessing your path. You begin to move with quiet certainty. And that certainty attracts the right opportunities, the right people, the right timing. Every day choose progress over pressure. Choose alignment over applause. Choose growth over competition. Your journey is not late. It's unfolding exactly as it needs to. You are not behind. You are becoming. There is a gentle power in gratitude that most people underestimate. They think gratitude is something you practice after you've arrived, after you've achieved the goal, after life finally feels kind. But gratitude isn't the reward at the end of the journey. It's the strength that carries you through it. When you learn to be grateful while you're still climbing, something shifts inside you. Effort feels lighter. Waiting feels purposeful. Struggle feels meaningful. Gratitude doesn't erase ambition. It grounds it. It keeps your heart open while your hands are busy building. There were seasons in my life where the results were slow, the sacrifices were heavy, and the doubts were loud. In those seasons, gratitude wasn't natural. It was intentional. It was a choice, a daily decision to notice what was working instead of only what was missing. And that choice changed everything. Gratitude doesn't mean pretending things are perfect. It means recognizing that even imperfect moments are shaping you. It means thanking life not only for the victories, but for the resilience built in the waiting. When you acknowledge how much you've survived, You stop underestimating how strong you are. Every day you wake up and choose gratitude, you reframe your effort. You stop seeing your hard work as a burden and start seeing it as an opportunity to grow, to learn, to serve, to become more than you were yesterday. That mindset builds emotional stamina. It allows you to keep going without burning out. Gratitude also protects you from entitlement. It reminds you that nothing is owed and everything is earned with grace. When you're grateful, you stay humble, and humility keeps you teachable. It keeps you open, it keeps you aligned with something bigger than ego. There is a spiritual depth to gratitude. It connects you to trust. Trust in timing, trust in purpose. Trust that even when you don't understand the path, you are being guided. Gratitude says, I may not see the full picture yet, but I believe this moment matters. People who practice gratitude regularly don't quit easily because they don't feel empty when progress is slow. They feel anchored. They know that every small step counts. They know that growth is happening beneath the surface, even when it's invisible. Gratitude also softens you. And softness is not weakness. It's what allows you to stay compassionate in a demanding world, to stay kind without becoming naive, to stay hopeful without becoming unrealistic. When your heart stays open, your life expands. Each night, when you reflect with gratitude, you train your mind to notice growth. You stop obsessing over what went wrong and start recognizing what went right. That habit shapes your identity. You become someone who sees possibility instead of limitation. And here's the quiet truth: gratitude multiplies. What you appreciate grows, not always immediately, not always visibly, but consistently. A grateful heart attracts clarity, resilience, and peace. And peace is a powerful companion on the road to improvement. You don't need to wait for everything to fall into place to be grateful. Be grateful as you put the pieces together. Be grateful for the lessons, the strength, the chance to try again tomorrow. Because when gratitude walks with you, effort turns into grace. And grace carries you farther than force ever could. Growth becomes hollow when it's only about you. You can climb higher, earn more, achieve louder, but if your growth doesn't touch another life, it eventually feels empty. Real improvement deepens when it turns outward, when it learns how to serve, because service is what grounds success and keeps it human. There is a difference between becoming impressive and becoming useful. The world applauds impressive, but it needs useful. And somewhere along the way, I learned that the most fulfilling growth is not about standing above others. It's about standing with them. It's about using what you're learning, what you're building, what you're becoming to make someone else's journey a little lighter. Service doesn't always look grand. Most of the time, it's quiet, it's listening when you're busy, it's showing up when it's inconvenient, it's offering encouragement when you could have stayed silent. It's doing the right thing even when there's no reward attached. These moments don't trend, but they transform you. When you serve, your growth gains perspective. Your problems stop feeling so isolating. Your ambitions stop feeling so heavy. You realize that life is not just asking you to succeed, it's asking you to contribute. And contribution gives purpose to progress. There were moments when my own life felt overwhelming, when the pressure to keep achieving felt relentless. And yet, the moments that grounded me the most were the ones where I could give my time, my voice, my presence to someone else. Service reminded me that I wasn't alone and that my struggles could still produce something meaningful. Serving others also keeps your ego in check. Growth without humility is fragile. The moment success becomes about proving your worth, you become anxious and defensive. But when growth becomes about impact, you relax. You don't need to dominate. You don't need to compare. You simply show up and do your part. Service teaches you patience. It teaches you compassion. It teaches you to see people fully, not just for what they can offer you. And those lessons refine your character in ways achievement alone never could. You become emotionally intelligent, spiritually grounded, deeply resilient. There is also something powerful about realizing that your growth can be someone else's hope. The discipline you're building, the courage you're practicing, the healing you're doing, none of it is wasted. Someone is watching, even if you don't know it. Someone is drawing strength from your example. And that awareness gives meaning to the hard days. Service doesn't mean self-sacrifice to the point of depletion. It means alignment. It means letting your growth flow outward naturally. You don't pour from an empty cup, but you also don't hoard what fills it. You learn when to rest and when to reach out. When your improvement includes service, your success becomes sustainable. You don't burn out as easily because your purpose is bigger than personal gain. You don't feel lost when applause fades because you're anchored in values, not validation. Ask yourself often, who did I help today? Not in a dramatic way, in a real way. Did I listen without interrupting? Did I encourage without expecting credit? Did I show kindness when it would have been easier to stay detached? These questions shape your growth more than any achievement ever will. The truth is, the world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs present ones. People who are willing to grow not just for themselves, but for the good they can do. People who understand that improvement is not a solo journey. It's a shared responsibility. When you grow with service in your heart, your life becomes richer, your success becomes steadier, and your journey becomes meaningful in ways you could never measure. Because the highest form of growth is not rising alone, but lifting others as you rise. There is a quiet truth about growth that doesn't sound exciting, but it changes everything once you understand it. Intensity feels powerful. It feels motivating. It feels like transformation. But consistency is what actually transforms you. Not the big bursts, not the dramatic starts, the steady return, again and again. Even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when no one notices. Most people don't fail because they lack potential. They fail because they burn out. They go all in for a short time, expect instant results, and when life doesn't respond fast enough, they lose faith in the process. Intensity promises quick change. Consistency delivers real change. Consistency is unglamorous. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't demand attention. It simply shows up, day after day, with humility, with patience, with trust. And that's why it works. Because life rewards what you repeat, not what you attempt once. There were times when I believed I had to do everything perfectly to move forward. That if I missed a day, or slowed down, or felt tired, I was failing. But growth taught me something gentler and far more powerful. Progress doesn't require perfection, it requires return. Return to the work, return to the discipline, return to the intention. Some days, consistency looks strong. You're focused, you're energized, you're aligned. Other days, consistency looks like doing the bare minimum and still showing up. Both count, both matter. Because consistency is not about how much you do. It's about not quitting on yourself. When you commit to consistency, you stop negotiating with your future. You stop asking, do I feel like it today? And start asking, who am I becoming through this choice? That shift changes everything. You begin to build identity instead of chasing outcomes. Consistency builds trust. Trust with yourself, trust with life. Every time you follow through, even in small ways, you reinforce the belief that you are reliable. And self-trust is one of the strongest foundations you can stand on. Without it, confidence is fragile. With it, confidence is quiet and unshakable. There is also freedom in consistency. When you stop relying on intense effort, You stop living in extremes. You no longer swing between overworking and giving up. You find balance, rhythm, sustainability. And sustainability is what allows growth to last. People often underestimate the power of small actions done daily. But those actions compound, slowly, invisibly, until one day they become undeniable. The habit you didn't think mattered becomes tea. A skill everyone admires. The routine you almost quit becomes the stability you rely on. The effort you thought was too small becomes the reason you didn't fall apart. Consistency also teaches patience. And patience is essential for long-term growth. Not everything blooms quickly. Some things take seasons. And when you respect that, you stop forcing outcomes. You allow yourself to mature naturally, deeply, fully. There will be days when intensity feels tempting, when you want to change everything at once, when you want dramatic results overnight, and those days will test you. But remember this, slow growth is still growth. Quiet progress is still progress. And steady effort always wins in the end. Consistency doesn't mean rigidity. It means commitment with compassion. It means adjusting without abandoning, resting without quitting, being honest without being harsh. You learn how to keep moving forward while honoring your humanity. And here's the most important part. Consistency builds resilience. When life disrupts your plans, consistency helps you adapt instead of collapse. When setbacks come, consistency helps you recover instead of retreat. You don't start over, you continue. And that continuity is powerful. One honest effort today, one small step tomorrow, one return after a setback. This is how lives change, not all at once, but for good. You don't need to overwhelm yourself to improve. You need to stay committed, stay present, stay willing. Because intensity may impress for a moment, but consistency is what carries you all the way home. At the end of all this effort, all this discipline, all this becoming, there is a truth that holds everything together, a truth that doesn't shout, doesn't rush, doesn't demand perfection. It simply waits for you to notice it. Growth is not about arriving somewhere flawless. It's about walking forward with faith, even when the road feels unfinished. Every day you choose to improve yourself, you're making a quiet agreement with life. An agreement that says, I will not give up on who I can become, even when progress feels slow. That agreement matters more than any single achievement. Because life is not transformed by moments of success. It's transformed by daily devotion. There will be days when you doubt yourself. Days when the mirror reflects someone you don't fully recognize yet. Days when you feel behind, tired, or uncertain. Those days do not cancel your growth. They are part of it. Faith teaches us that not everything meaningful feels good while it's happening. Some things feel heavy before they feel holy. Improving yourself every day requires trust. Trust that small steps matter. Trust that effort compounds. Trust that even when you can't see the results, something inside you is strengthening. Faith is believing that today's obedience is shaping tomorrow's breakthrough, even if you never get to connect the dots in advance. The world will try to rush you. It will pressure you to perform, to prove, to constantly show outcomes. But real growth doesn't respond well to pressure. It responds to patience, to consistency, to grace. When you learn to move at the speed of integrity instead of comparison, your life begins to feel aligned instead of forced. You don't need to impress life, you need to honor it. Honor your effort, honor your process. Honor the version of you that keeps showing up even when it would be easier to quit. That version of you is strong. That version of you is becoming trustworthy. That version of you is building something real. Faith reminds us that we are not walking alone. that every honest effort is seen, that every step taken with humility and courage has meaning beyond what we understand. You may not always feel supported, but you are guided. You may not always feel confident, but you are capable. You may not always feel ready, but you are called. Service gives your growth purpose. Gratitude gives it depth. Discipline gives it structure. Consistency gives it longevity. And faith gives it direction. When these come together, improvement stops being a burden and starts becoming a blessing. One day you will look back at this version of yourself, the one choosing daily growth despite uncertainty, and you will feel proud, not because you are perfect, but because you are faithful. Faithful to your values, faithful to your work, faithful to the quiet voice inside you that kept saying, keep going. Life does not ask you to have it all figured out. It asks you to be willing. Willing to learn, willing to grow, willing to serve, willing to try again tomorrow with a little more wisdom than yesterday. So don't underestimate the power of today. Don't dismiss the importance of small choices. Don't measure your worth by how far you still have to go. Measure it by how bravely you continue. Improve yourself every day, not to become someone else, but to become more of who you already are. Walk forward with faith in your heart, discipline in your habits, gratitude in your spirit, and service in your actions. And remember this truth always. When you commit to daily growth with humility and faith, life doesn't just change around you, it rises within you. So if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. Not a miracle, not a shortcut, just a reminder. God doesn't bless comfort, He blesses courage. He blesses effort. He blesses the quiet, unseen faith of someone who keeps going even when the results are slow. You don't have to become everything overnight. You just have to become faithful today. Faithful to your growth, faithful to your discipline, faithful to the purpose placed inside you. Because when you show up daily with honesty in your heart, attitude in your spirit, and service in your hands, life begins to move with you. Doors open when you're ready, not when you rush. Strength appears when you step forward, not when you wait. So walk forward, not fearless, faith-filled, not perfect, present, not loud, aligned. Improve yourself every day and trust this truth with everything in you. When faith leads your steps, no effort is ever wasted.